This video was made possible by GamersGate.com. Download games anytime, anywhere. Skip it up and that up. Oh, Battlefield 4. I got to vent for 30 seconds, and I'll go on to today's news story. Huge shout out to GamersGate for hooking me up with a copy of Battlefield 4 to show for news stories. Thank you guys once again. I have this game. Obviously, I have it Origin, and I have it both on my gaming PC. My main rig has a Core i7-3770K, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780, 16 gigabytes of RAM, yada yada. Those are the most important things I know people are going to ask. And I have it on my gaming laptop. The game has some bugs in it. It runs okay on my main rig, the PC with the 780 in it. But when I play it on the gaming laptop, which it actually, until it locks up, runs very well. Actually, I run it at 1080p with medium settings, and it looks great. Most of the time, I'm getting 60 frames per second. I think the lowest to drop down to with the medium settings, 1080p, is 40 frames per second. But there is this one part exactly at the same exact time, every single time, that the game locks up. I don't know what's on the gaming laptop, not on the main PC, but the gaming laptop. It locks up at the same exact frame every single time. I don't know if it's a Windows 8 issue because I have Windows 8 on the laptop. I don't know if it's because I have the game installed in an external drive. I don't know what the hell is going on. But whatever, it's frustrating because a lot of people ask me to play the game and see it run on Battlefield 4, see it run on the laptop. Sorry, guys. They're not playing nice with each other. I don't know what else to say. So this is like a Hiroshima bomb that's been dropped on the gaming community throughout the world. Mark Rubin from Infinity Ward confirmed today, and it shocked the shit out of me too. He confirmed today that Call of Duty Ghosts will be running at full 1080p native on the PS4. So I guess that insider information I got on that went to shit. And on the Xbox One, it's going to be running at 720p, scaled up to 1080p. Kind of like what they do with the current generation, even sub-HD resolutions. They just have a scaler chip both in the PS3 and Xbox 360. So even if the game's running at like 600p, they just upscale to 1080p, so it displays on your monitor at 1080p. It doesn't actually look 1080p, but they just use an upscaler. Anyway, so I'm scratching my head here, John Carmack and other developers who said that the PS4 and Xbox One are virtually identical in performance. What, the same exact game running on the PS4 at 1080p and running on the Xbox One at 720p, which is a significant difference in resolution. That doesn't seem too identical to me. So what's going on here? I'm scratching my head. And like I've said before, it's not that there's a lot of loopholes they have to get around in the hardware, developers, I mean to say, because these are basically x86 64-bit machines that are basically just computers. They're specialized computers. It's not like it was in the past with the cell processor and all that. So what extra power could they get out of the Xbox One to make the next COD 1080p? It's making me scratch my head here. What the hell's going on? I know there's been, like, you guys have seen the stories I put up and seen the articles about developers saying the PS4 and Xbox One are essentially the same. I've been saying it too, even though I've seen like the whole thing with the PS4 being 50% more powerful and all that. And I'm like, you know what, in terms of real world performance, I doubt there'll be that much of a difference, but now seeing shit like this is starting to change my mind. You know, I mean, I was thinking, no, there's no way Microsoft will be that stupid to give the PS4 that much of a power advantage. And they've even come out and said, you know, we're the ones who designed DirectX. Do you think we'd really let Sony have that much of an advantage? Well, guess what, Microsoft? Battlefield 4 is only going to be 720p on your console. This is also confirmed too. There's an article from Polygon. I'll try to find it again and have it in the link below. And on the PS4, it's going to be 900p. That's not as big of a difference between 720p and 1080p, but that's another game with a higher resolution on your competition's console. Something's not right here. Now, Microsoft, was it that you wanted to cut a couple corners to save on manufacturing costs because you really wanted to include the Kinect and make sure it was a device that was included with every Xbox One? So that's why you used only DDR3 memory and a slightly more anemic GPU or substantially more anemic GPU? Or was it because you thought that the PS4 wasn't going to be as powerful as it is, and you were just like, we don't need to go all out, we'll just put DDR3 memory. And then when you found out that the PS4 was as powerful as it is, you were like, oh shit, what do we do? Let's put some SRAM in there, put some really fast memory that developers can use. But the developers are hating that ESRAM or SRAM. I've heard it said two different ways. They're despising it. They're saying it's a pain in the ass to program for, and a lot of them aren't even using it. It's almost like what happened with the Sega Saturn back in the day. Is Sega found out how powerful the original PlayStation was going to be, so they just plopped an extra processor in there, another main CPU in there, and especially back then, because developers weren't working with multi-processors or dual-core processors or multi-core processors, they were just like, we don't know how to program this thing, so they just ignored it and just used a single processor, and games looked like crap. If there were multi-plats, they looked like crap on the Sega Saturn. It's just, I know it's going back and it's not really a direct comparison, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. I almost forgot to add this in too. I'm actually hearing that developers are saying that the ESRAM or SRAM is actually a bottleneck if it's not used properly, and it is a pain in the ass to use. So in most cases, it's been a bottleneck for the Xbox One, and that's not good. That might be why we're seeing these inferior multiplats. It's kind of like you and Sony reversed roles. The multiplats were inferior on the PS3, and now for the 8th generation, the multiplats are going to be inferior on the Xbox One. And with how expensive that console is, Microsoft, that's not a good look for you. So now I have to ask you guys a question, and I'm interested to see what you have to say. Now that it's confirmed that two big multiplats that are coming out this holiday season for the next-gen consoles will have lower resolutions on the Xbox One, does that change your mind about the Xbox One? Say you're only going out and buying one of the two consoles, and you're finding this out. Does this make you just want to get the PS4? Were you only interested in the Xbox One? Now you're looking more towards the PS4? Does it change your mind on what console you want to get? I'm interested to see what you have to say. I'm getting both, especially because obviously I'm doing Review Tech USA. Plus, I'm really psyched for Dead Rising 3. That's why I want to get the Xbox One. But for you guys that are only getting one of the two consoles and you were leaning towards the Xbox One, does this news change your mind and look more towards Sony's way? I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. All right, folks, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one.